It's the start of week 3 of the first semester now, and you've been to enough lectures to realise that sometimes lecturers go faster than you expect, and so that means that you have to make quick decisions about what to write down. And sometimes the lecture notes don't appear up on Moodle because, well, it could be one of any reasons. So you've got to make sure that you've got enough written down on your pad that 3 months down the line, when you have exams at Christmas time, or more time down the line when you have maybe a semester 2 exam that still requires you to know first semester information, that you've got enough you can revise from. I'm going to give you a couple of ideas for different ways that you might want to take notes if you haven't already started using some kind of system. The easiest method of taking notes that I can demonstrate to you is called the Cornell method, because it doesn't involve doing anything very much different from what you probably already do. You start by sectioning off a wider than normal margin at the edge of your paper. It doesn't matter if it's on the right or on the left, and then a section across the bottom as well. You use this large section to do what you would normally do, so let's just put a heading on that one as the space for your notes. And over on this side, it's for cues. So those could be pictures, diagrams, keywords, whatever summarises whatever was over on this side of the page. That's the idea for the cues column. So let's say that in the notes side you take notes, whether those are in bullet point form or keyword and key phrase form, because you think you're just writing down what the most important things that the lecturer tells you are. It doesn't really matter for the purposes of this discussion. But let's say that the topic was about the heart, and that you were learning about how the artery structure differs from the structure of the veins. And one of the facts that you'd learned was that 60% of your blood is in the veins, which is noteworthy because you might think it's 50-50. Then over on this side, my diagram to represent that fact might be something like this, with a really simple, really badly drawn person, and there's the 50% line, but actually maybe it's up to about here for 60%. And so what you have down here is 60% of blood in your veins as opposed to your arteries. What's also nice about using a system like this is that you've got a ready-made way of testing yourself. And I know that sounds very basic, it's how many people learn to spell when they're in primary school, but there's a reason that you do it in primary school, and there's a reason I'm telling you to do it now. Because the evidence says that the more you can test yourself, the more chance you have of recalling the information 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, sometime in the future. Another really simple way to write your notes is to use a mind map. Now I know that because you're a class of scientists, there are probably some of you who already try this and you like it, and there are probably even more of you who violently detest the idea of a mind map. I'm not trying to tell you that you should do something you feel uncomfortable with, but bear with me. So again, let's say that we had the topic of the arteries and veins, which I'm just going to write in shorthand right now for the sake of this video. Then maybe part of the lecture was about the function of the heart at the centre of this system. So I'm going to draw an arrow out there, and I'm not going to lead it anywhere very useful. It's right up in the corner. Down here, the next thing the lecturer might have spoken about was the arteries, because those are the first ones as you follow the blood coming out of the heart. Then maybe down here, I'm going to draw an arrow to carve up that section of the page and say that this one is all about the capillaries, which are the network of fine blood vessels that connect the arteries with the veins, which is what this line up here is going to carve off an area for. Veins. Most of you are probably familiar with the idea of a mind map as being something that you extend from the centre, and you've got another bubble here, and then another bubble here, and another bubble here, and then you have this system of developing nodes. And a lot of people get anxious that that's going to make things messy, and you're going to run out of space at the edge of the page. I'm here to try and tell you right now, it doesn't have to be any particular type of way. But this part here is where I write all of my information about capillaries. This part over here is where I write everything about arteries. Heart goes up here and veins goes over here perhaps. If you're in Biology 1A, I'll see you in a few days' time at the end of one of your lectures. If you're in any other MVLS course and you want to talk about this or anything else related to your studying, drop me an email. We'll set up a time that suits us both, and you can come and see me in my office.